below San Francisco. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
And I am in a tiny little village called Bangalore, just below the Queensland, New South Wales border. So we're in lockdown right now, just a little further north, not in lockdown at all. In fact, even 20 minutes south, not in lockdown. It's very unusual the way that we do our lockdowns here. But there you go. And as you would know, when you work from home or a little office away from your home, lockdown doesn't really make much difference, does it? Because you're just doing your Zoom business and away you go. So I am a lucky one for that, that's for sure. So today, Tracey and I are talking about relationship marketing, which I'm super pumped about, but I just want to rewind for a moment because Tracey and I, just before I clicked on the go live, we were just talking about how we met, and which was to do with women's networking. So when we were at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego last year, we met up with another bunch of women, there was about, I don't know, maybe eight or 10 of us, that all run women's networking groups in different parts of the world. And that's how Tracey and I met. And so Tracey's part of the Women's Network Alliance, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so you're a co-owner of that. I'm the founder of Positive Passionate Business Women. And Tracey was just saying how pretty much everything that she does or has or needs in terms of a service or a product or anything has come about because of that beautiful networking situation. So do you want to share about that a little more, Tracey?
Oh, sure. Yeah. When I got started, when I joined WNA, it really was my whole, as a brand new business owner, like budding, just starting, my whole view was, I've got to get business. I've got to get business. I've got to get business. So it was very much like me. What can I get out of networking? And it has, been amazing for my business because I've gotten so much business through my networking contacts, not just from them, but also referrals that they give because of knowing me. But then all of them, I use their services too. So it has been so fantastic for me and for my business because they all support me in various ways that make my life better. I have a chronic illness. I have Lyme disease, and my functional nutritionist, who I met through networking, through Women's Networking Alliance, she was immense in my turning a corner from feeling like I was going to die every day to being able to function like a fairly normal person. And it wasn't my doctors, it wasn't the Lyme specialist that I was working with, though of course she did very much help, but my functional nutritionist changed my life. And I would never have met her or even thought to seek someone like her out if I hadn't been in my networking group. So it's been fantastic for my business, but it's been so fantastic for me. So while I have been thinking like me, my business, it's also been me, take care of me. And I have then given a bunch of business back to other people in my group. So it's a really nice give and take where I get so much and I'm able to give so much too.
I just think it's amazing. And I think a lot of people think about the idea of networking and feel very awkward about it. It's like, I'm going to have to turn up and really sell myself, or I'm going to have to meet people and I'm uncomfortable with that. And, there's a whole lot of issues around it. Well, for starters, my networking group is completely online. So we meet up, our meetups are on Zoom, etc. But I have done in the past, pre this pandemic, in person, which was fun, but actually it was more like just sit and have a chat. And I always bring a speaker in so that we've got something to focus on so that we're all learning. But I think one of the crucial things about networking is that, for me anyway, my belief is that it's about who you could share the information with, rather than what can I get from you or what can I sell to you. It's like, if I know about what you do and somebody then comes up that actually might really benefit from knowing about you, then I can pass that on. So to me, it's more about referrals in a way and introductions.
Yes. And that's one of the things, our slogan, I guess you could say, with WNA is that we are so focused on building relationships, because we really feel that when you build relationships, your business will just naturally grow with it. So it's not about, okay, let's get in there. Here's your card. Here's a card. Here's a card. It's let's get to know each other so that it really starts working on that like, no, trust factor. Because if I know of, 5 professional organizers, the person I'm going to refer to is the person that I like the most, that I have gotten to know, and can say, I can put my reputation on the line because I know her and I know that she's going to do a good job. And so it's going to reflect well on me. And that you don't have that level of familiarity if you don't have some basis of getting to know each other. And you can't do that just by, here's my card.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And that's so awesome that you brought up the know, like, and trust factor. I'm doing a workshop at 10 o'clock. I was saying 10 to you, but anyway, in half an hour, I'm running a new workshop series. And today, a lot of it is about the know, like, and trust factor. So when it comes to relationship marketing, we and my company, Hello Media, it's all about the relationships. So I was writing this thing and I just wanted to read it out to you. It was a little stat that I found, which was that, hang on, while I just pull it up. Oh, I've just looked at the wrong thing. Hang on. If you solve an unhappy customer's problem, 70% of those customers will shop with your company again. That's pretty amazing stats, isn't it? And there's one more that says it's between 5 to 25 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain a current customer.
Yes.
Pretty mind-blowing stats. So for those people that sell a product online or have a service, why would you put all your focus into getting one person to buy once and then trying to always be looking for the next and the next and the next, when you've got the opportunity to take those people on a journey with you?
Yes.
So tell me, Tracey, then what do you feel are the most important things? Like if you had to choose top 3, what would be your most important 3 in terms of a relationship marketing thought process?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is you have to be authentic. You have to infuse yourself into your marketing, because at the end of the day, people aren't purchasing your product, or not purchasing your service. They're purchasing you and what you have to offer. And so it's so important to just infuse yourself in what you're doing so that people have an idea of who you are and what you're all about. If you were looking for some sort of service, you're looking for whatever, a new hairstylist. If you are researching and you see this person, like you do a Google search for someone close by, and you find 3 hairdressers that are close to you, and you haven't heard of 2 of them, but the other one you have heard of, you're probably already going to be more likely to want to work with that person just because you've heard of them. But then if you have seen them online, if you've seen your friends talking about them, if you have seen other work that they've done just on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you already feel like you have a relationship with that person, even if you don't know anything about them at all. So, it could be that they share a picture of their dog on Instagram, and they're like, and you say, oh gosh, I love that dog, or oh, I have that breed of dog too, or I just love dogs. And the other people, all they're doing is, posting pictures of hair, which this isn't the greatest example that I've ever come up with, but if there is something that someone can connect with you over, that's going to put you ahead of the game, just because people feel that connection. Like, oh, I love dogs too. Great. I want to work with you because of that. So that's my top thing. And I feel like I went off on a big tangent, but
no, it was so perfect. I completely agree with you with that. I absolutely do. And a lot of people say to me, I don't understand why I wouldn't post things that are 100% relevant to my business all the time, and tell people what I sell, for example, whether it's a service or a product. And I'm like, whoa, easy, tiger. Really, at the end of the day, we want to have that relationship with the business, know the people behind the business, not necessarily just be sold to all the time. Well, not necessarily, not at all do we want to be sold to all the time. It's going to be very off-putting. So just like what you said, if I can relate to you on some level, then that's going to be way more appealing and give me a reason to keep following.
Yeah, I often talk with my clients, because they just, we as business owners, we need to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. However, our need or desire to make money, our audience doesn't necessarily care about that. So if all we're doing is promoting, then people are going to get so bored. Nobody wants to be sold to all the time. Very few people get onto social media because they want to be sold to. They want to feel like they're part of a community. They want to feel like they're connecting to people. They want to feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. And if all you're ever doing is selling, that gets old really fast. Yes. So having the fluff, as I like to call it, is such a good thing to do because it gets people talking. It gets people to know your personality a little bit. And I like to say to my clients who always are so confused about what to post, and they just like, I think in general we all overthink what to post on social media. But I break it down, and 50% of the content that you should be posting should be entertaining. Just be fun, fluff, entertaining content. 30% should be educating your audience on stuff that you know about. And then 20%, that's all. 20% is how much you should be selling. So if you break that down by 6 days a week, just to make the math easy, that's 3 entertaining posts a week, 2 educational posts a week, and 1 sales post a week. And that is usually not what people are doing.
We're so on the same track, because my rule is the 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the time you're edutaining. So mixing up the educating or the entertaining, 20% of the time is the selling. So look at that. We're just completely on the same track, which is awesome. And yeah, I totally agree with you. And I've never thought of calling it the fluff, but I like it, because then that can talk about what a beautiful day it is out there, or how crazy the storms are out there, and what's happening in your neck of the woods, or, just that kind of stuff. Like, just we're about to get out of lockdown. What will be the first thing you're going to do? Just questions like that, and just get engaging with people and just have conversations. I love that.
And I know something that I've seen you do a lot with your group and on your page in general that I also do is all of these ridiculous holidays that there are. So the day before, and I'm not sure what it's like in the rest of the world, but in the United States, the day before Halloween is National Candy Corn Day. I think candy corn is disgusting. One of my best friends thinks candy corn is amazing. And we have this every year, we have this ridiculous fake feud about candy corn. And we, if I see things talking about how good how disgusting it is, I always tag them in it, and they do the same thing with me. And so we have this fun back and forth. But one year, I think 2 years ago on October 30th, I posted just a picture of candy corn with some stats about how many pieces of candy corn are made every year, which is just like some staggering, ridiculous amount. And I said, the world is divided over this little candy. Do you like it or do you hate it? That was one of my best performing posts that I've ever done, because so many people feel very, very strongly about candy corn. And I was talking with one of my clients, and he was like, well, how much business did you get from that? It's like, that's not what it's about. I got so much exposure from that. And now people are more likely you better believe that the next day I posted something that was a promotion the next day, because I had all of these hundreds and hundreds of views on this stupid post. And they are much more likely to see my serious promotional posts that I want people to spend money on, because I had so much engagement with that one. So the fluff is so important, because it gets people interacting with your page, and then they will be primed and ready to see the stuff that's important to you.
Absolutely. I've got a funny one as well, is that, I don't know, are you guys much into pineapple on pizzas over there?
I think it's so gross. And that's another thing that the world is divided over, pineapple on pizza.
So I have a client that is a pizza restaurant, and at least once every 4-ish months we'll do a post that's, and it's the simplest one: pineapple on pizza, yes or no. Boof, it'll blow up, because everyone's got an opinion that they want to share. And then it'll often, even in the comments, it'll start talking about, an apricot chicken, that's a no-no. And sultanas in Moroccan couscous, that's a no-no. It just becomes this thing, because it's a very polarizing issue. So yeah, you're right. You did right. Finding those things that are going to get, they're going to get good interaction are just gold. But as you know, I love those days of the year. I love World Toilet Day. And also it's a great way to be able to tell people about random things that's just interesting, like World Toilet Day. Hey, let's talk about how was the toilet even invented? And I've been talking weirdly, it's an odd topic, isn't it? But my daughter has a puppy, so we're often, and we've got an old dog as well, so we're walking around the oval near our place, and there's men with their poop bags and their giant dogs, and it's a funny thing, isn't it, that we will carry along a poop from another creature. We would never put our own in a bag and walk around with it. Such an odd thing. And as you know, my husband's in a wheelchair, and so the odd time our daughter has attached the poop bag to the back of his chair because there hasn't been the proper bin that we've got to, and then she's forgotten about it. Luckily it's never been more than a couple of hours, but that's a terrible thing. I'm like, that's cruel that he's got a poop bag attached to his chair. That's so cruel. But there you go. Like, can you imagine the kind of chat that can go on in the comments when all it is, hey, guess what? It's World Toilet Day. And then all of a sudden, all these other weird things, well, not even necessarily all weird, but come out of that. So what's one of your favorite world days, or most odd world days that you've come across?
Well, the candy corn one sticks out a lot, but and I think that that's one of the great things about all of these stupid holidays is that there's something out there for everyone. So I tell my clients, what do you do? Great. Look for whatever. So frozen yogurt, you sell frozen yogurt? Great. When's frozen yogurt day? I happen to know that is February 6th because I have a frozen yogurt client. And, whatever it is that you do, look for something around that. So bookkeeper, there is a World Finance Day. And so that makes sense for her to talk about, anything that you do, go and do a search for it. And you'll find that there's something that's related to what you do, and then plan around that. And it's like, I have a group membership program, and it's called ZingPop in Your PJs, because it starts at 8:30 in the morning. And so I make it as a fun thing that, like, hey, it's casual, come and show up. You can be in your PJs, it's fine. And so on Wear Your PJs to Work Day, I had a special event, that because it's just something silly. I sent out postcards to all of my members because only my paying members get into my group coaching. So I sent out a postcard to all of my members, even my free ones, and said, hey, if you want to join us, come and join us. PJs are optional, but please wear something. So, it's just a fun way to show a little bit more, again, of your personality and let that show through, because it's not, I can appreciate that being a little bit silly isn't the right thing for every business out there, but the vast majority of us can get away with being a little bit silly every now and again.
Yeah, it's just being a real person, isn't it? Like you said before, it's about being authentic and just showing who you are. Now, what about, do you think, though, when it's a company that really doesn't, well, it's particularly I've got clients, they don't want to show themselves at all. Mm-hmm. And I say, but actually, though, your brand, your company still has a vibe. So even if that is serious and intense or whatever, then do some personal posts around that. So there's still got to find a way to bring out that personality of the company, and you don't have to necessarily be saying, well, I took my dog for a walk or something like that. It doesn't need to be that. So what would be your ideas for people that are absolutely adamant that they don't want to show the face behind the company?
Well, then with that, I would challenge you to just do a test. And great, you have whatever platform you're using, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. I'll use Instagram as an example. Look at how many likes and comments you have on your regular posts. Then put up a picture of you and talk about something personal. It doesn't have to be your innermost, details of your life. It can be like, today I went on a really great walk and I, enjoying the sunshine and the fresh air. It can be as simple as that. You don't even have to say anything deeply personal about yourself, but put a picture of yourself up. You will be shocked at how much more engagement that post gets. One of my clients, is an NFL football coach. He worked for the 49ers, and then he went into college, and now he's back with the NFL again. And he shared tons of pictures of him with athletes, and great articles about just fitness and everything. Anyway, then he was on a trip into Texas to do a big training for the NFL referees. He went to a barbecue joint, took a picture of himself with some barbecue, and that picture went insane. People went nuts seeing that. And then so I was like, because I had been trying to share some personal stuff, and he wasn't really into it. And then he did that, and it went so well. And then after that, I think it was on either Father's Day or Mother's Day, he had a picture of himself and his wife and his 3 sons, and it was a happy, whichever one it was, Mother's Day or Father's Day. And again, that post went insane. And he's like, I don't get it, because this has nothing to do with football or my coaching programs or anything. It's like, yeah, because you're showing that you're a real person who eats and has a family, and that just makes such a difference.
Doesn't it just? That's so true. And it's really, really tricky putting yourself out there. I really do get that. But years ago, when I first was like, oh, I know I've got to do it, but I don't want to do it. I tell everyone else that they need to do it, but I don't do it myself. And then I realized I can just use my Bitmoji from time to time, because my Bitmoji can get all kinds of personality and do fun things and all of that. And I can put that out a little bit. So that's my little secret thing behind the scenes, is that if I'm not really feeling up for it, my Bitmoji can do it for me.
Yeah.
If you have a little play with that.
Back to the the like, no, trust factor, is that if you are a faceless company, then how are people going to feel like they can connect with you when you're the person that is delivering the product or service that they need? You have to give people that opportunity to feel like they can connect with you as a human being, even if they're never going to do anything with you directly. You still want them to feel like, oh, Kylie, I know her, I like her, I think she's so great, she's my online friend, even if you're never going to meet you in person. It just really adds that human quality to a business, that people want to do business with people, not companies.
Yes. There you go. So what do you say to someone when they say, oh, but Coca-Cola don't do that, we don't know who owns Coca-Cola? And I come back with, well, we do know who owns Facebook, don't we? We can see all kinds of things about that goes on in his life. But what's your thoughts around that? When do people say that to you? Well, the big companies don't.
Right, because big companies can't.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's just that is a huge benefit of being a small business, is that we can actually have personal relationships with our customers. Even if it's just online, we can still connect with them. And I mean, yeah, huge companies don't have to do that personalization, because they're already known. Yeah. People are already seeking them out. You, as a small independent business who's working out of your home, great, you're a drop in the bucket. Who cares about you? Yeah. You got to make people care. And the only way that you can do that is to connect with people.
I love that. I love that so much, Tracey. So we need to wrap it up. I realize the time, and I'm so grateful for you joining me. So what would be your one top tip of the day when it comes to relationship marketing and nurturing that?
Put yourself out there. Really, that's my big thing, is if you are hesitant about putting yourself out there, then try to incorporate some other piece of, like, your dog or your cat. Have something that is personal, but just start dipping your little toe in to get yourself into your business. If you don't have a picture of yourself on your website, that's your first step. Yeah. Get a picture of yourself, put it on your website with a little bio about you. I hate it when I go to a business website and I go to the about page and it's just some generic boilerplate stuff that doesn't say anything about the person or people who own the business. So infuse a little bit of you in your business.
I love that. I've got this little thing to tell you. So I had this shoe company client, and it was him and his partner and her father that ran this company. And they were adamant they didn't want to be part of it. like we don't want anyone to know that we're anything to do with it. It's about the shoes. I'm like, so why would people buy the shoes from you when they could go directly to the company, the shoe manufacturers themselves? It's not like they were any cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, obviously that was just an ongoing battle. But in the end, with finishing up with their website with them in the about page, of course, they wouldn't have photos of themselves. So I said, how about we start a little campaign on social media, or do a bit of strategy around what shoes you wear. And then we can see your shoes in different parts of the place. So, and they were based on the Gold Coast. And so they would have beach action and hiking action and all kinds of outdoorsy life and, you know, beautiful weather. So it's like, okay, so you're not happy to show us you, but show us your feet then. Show us your feet on all these adventures. And so then on their about page, I got them to stand together in a little circle or triangle and take a photo looking down of the three of them with their shoes.
I love that. That's so fantastic.
It was. At least it was showing a bit of quirky personality, even though they weren't happy to share anything else about themselves. So there's always a way to get around it too, I think. Plus it actually started to make them a bit more confident. Within I was going to say a very short time, but it's probably more like 6 months, they eventually started putting photos just from the back view, but there they were, like looking out at the beach in those shoes. So we moved up the body a little.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Yeah, so you know, step outside your comfort zone a little bit. And if you're not comfortable putting your face, then put your feet.
Yeah, you're right. So why don't we put a challenge out to everybody today that they'll go out there and they'll do something with themselves in it and say about something that they enjoy about, like, I've just noticed a little comment here from someone watching on Facebook Live that says, maybe I could do posts on different outdoor places to hang out during spring in Sydney, like local bushwalks and reserves. Maybe I could do time lapses of me taking the photos. So that's somebody called Karen, and she has, she's a photographer and she sells beautiful prints of her photos for hanging on the wall in your office, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a great idea because, yes, we love to see her beautiful photos, but how about her in those places and, you know, enjoying it and having a picnic? You know, that's always a cute thing too, are those little behind the scenes shots. So here's my beautiful photo that I've taken while I've been doing this job, but actually this is what went on behind the scenes. I had me and the family having a picnic behind there and a screaming kid and a runaway dog and a whatever.
Yeah.
Don't you agree that, you know, we always want to, and like your whole view there just looks gorgeous, but then what about the post that tells us about what are the numbers all about? You know, so we're getting to know a little bit more about you and behind the scenes, or the picture on your calendar, for example. Like clearly for me, I'm a little bit plant obsessed, but what about, I just moved, what about the picture there? My dad was a film producer, so that's back in before I was even born when he was on the camera. So, you know, just sharing some little bits of those, even if you're not so happy with your face in it, you know, just little bits of stories behind the scenes. So what's our official challenge that we're putting out there, Tracey?
Everybody has to go and put themselves somehow out there. So whether it's a picture of your face, a picture of your feet, just somehow infuse a little bit of you into your social media, on your website, just so that, you know, if people are choosing between two companies and they don't know anything about either of them, and then they see, ooh, she likes wine, I do too, great, I want to work with her. Like, just some little personal thing. That's what
I love it. I love it. And I hope you have your lovely wine tonight.
Oh, it's going to be great.
It's been a very big day. And have you got another day of Women's Networking Alliance tomorrow as well?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, I hope it's fantastic. Hope you have a good sleep tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Tracey from ZingPop Social Media, and you definitely got to get onto her emailing list because there's some just pearlers that come out in her email. She's an email marketing specialist, so you need to be on that. And I hope that we can have another chat very soon on Bite-Sized Conversations.
Always happy to come back when you need me.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tracey. So great to see you, and I look forward to catching up soon. You have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for